we have 6 more opportunities to finish the season with a more positive feel ourselves as much as anything.
Nigel, how have you approached this week in order to get a response from the players?
Yeah, wow, a response. We've been talking about having a response for a while. It's just, look, it's a situation that is not a good one in terms of how we feel about ourselves. The motivation that the players need to bring to the pitch has been lacking, I'm afraid, and we've spoken about that. Look, it's very simple in my mind now. We have 6 more opportunities to finish the season with a more positive feel ourselves as much as anything. So the criticism that comes our way is justified, and it's also something that we have to deal with. But we can't keep talking about it over and over again. It's now about actions, and yeah, I think the players are aware of our need to change our fortunes at home as much as anything.
As a manager, you will have been in situations like this where you've had to break a losing run. So what do you draw on from both experiences, skills, etc.?
Well, I suppose, you do draw on past experiences, but there's no point trying to just replicate how you dealt with a different situation, because the circumstances are different in different people. It's really quite an unusual situation in the sense that we're not safe yet, but we're still relatively comfortable, and that's one of the problems. And I don't like using that word because it's a word which I feel is probably does illustrate where we are at the moment. And I think moving forward for us, it's important that we have a greater drive just to make things happen on a daily basis, never mind looking at our current situation and the run that we're in. I think for us to be a success as a club, we need to really develop an inner drive that everybody shares, and that's something which is a big challenge, but that's not really the priority at the moment. The priority is just to turn around our form both in terms of performances but results as well.
Does a mid-table position sometimes affect players? There's no silverware, there's no jeopardy. If that was ever the case, how do you address that?
Well, I don't see it as being no jeopardy, because there are players who are playing for the futures. There's always something to play for. I don't buy into this sort of mentality that there's nothing to play for. Every time that you take the field, you've got your professional pride at stake, and that's always I think that's a really precious thing. So look, I'm the manager, so I don't really enjoy it at the moment in terms of it being people asking questions about and me questioning us as well. It's not a situation that I enjoy. However, we've got to work to find the solutions, and we need to work together to find the solutions, and that's really the key message.
Strikes me you're a half glass full person. How soon do you switch your mind from a defeat like we had on Monday to looking at Forest, or do you stew on things for 24, 48 hours?
I don't stew on it. It's how I feel emotionally is one thing, but I think it's also important to behave in a way which stimulates a response. It's not about me doing things to make me feel better. It's about trying to find solutions, and that's really what it's about. All the time, people will question us at the moment, and people will wonder what's going on. But it's a difficult situation to solve at the moment. But hey, I don't think about what we can't do. I'm thinking about what we can do to put it right. And we've tried. We've trained hard this week again. I get tired of saying it. I want us to be more clinical and more game effective. And really, the players have to accept that they need to bring more to it, and I think they do as well. I mean, I've had conversations with lots of individuals this week, but also with groups as well, and time will tell. But for me, also, it gives some clarity. Whatever happens in football, I think it's important to look at what's happening for what it is, and then it's about trying to find the solution. So we're not going to get lots of changes in terms of necessarily how things happen for the rest of the season in terms of because of the personnel that we have, but that's okay too, because as I've already said, with some of the younger players having exposure, not necessarily in the manner that I would like, but it always gives people opportunities in sport. As an individual player in a team sport, you need to be able to take those chances when they come, and I think that is one element that is a positive, if you like, side effect of our current malaise, is that people are getting opportunities that they wouldn't normally get. Good for them. Let's hope they all take them.
For someone like, say, Tommy Conway, Sam Pearson, Sam Bell, you talked after the game on Monday about not damaging them, but do you think they've got the resilience to go, right, I'm going to seize this opportunity and do what I can, both individually and for the team?
Yeah, I would say that those three players, I think because they're in more forward positions, mistakes that they may make in the game aren't necessarily as costly. If you're a young goalkeeper or a young defender and you make mistakes, there's a higher probability of those mistakes being punished or more visible. So I think it does depend on positions, but just the character of those three individuals that you talked about, they're very, very tenacious, very opportunist too. They all have a very strong team mentality, which is good, but they have a personal drive to achieve themselves, and I think that's a real positive. But as I said, it's about trying to get the balance right between, giving them chances, but not putting them into a situation where, they're going to have there's going to be a negative side effect. So it's never a perfect scenario, let me tell you.
Sam, his attitude and application has earned him a 3-year contract. What qualities do you see in him?
He's got the potential to be a very, very good player. What I like about him is he's a bit of a smiling assassin. He really enjoys succeeding on the pitch, and fortunately for him, he's got the capacity to work very, very hard and at an incredible intensity. I mean, it's a shame for him on his full debut, if you like, that he picked up an injury, but. There's another example of, let's not underestimate how other stresses are created for young players when they have this excitement to deal with as well. But he'll be fine. He'll come back from that, and I think again for young players to go through a difficult experience as the team is, but still be able to go out there and show positivity themselves. I think it's a really it's a good thing for them individually.
Will we see Sam again this season, Nigel? And just want to ask you about Nathan Baker and Liam Walsh, what their chances are.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be fair to say that it's unlikely that we'll see Sam again this season. Likewise with Walshy, I don't think that they won't be available. Nathan, possibility, but we'll see. I mean, I try not to waste too much energy on dealing with people who aren't available. I mean, that's not to say I'm not bothered about them. It's more about draw a line under it and think about what we can do with the players who are available. So, for me, we've had our issues this year, which have, I think, limited our ability to build on successes when we've had them. But it's just something that we have to resolve in the more medium and long term. At the moment, it's about concentrating on players who are available and trying to change this run we're in.